as I told you, the Puranas and these Itihasas also keep giving us a lens view of how people are living. So look at here, I mean, this comes again and again in 2-3 shlokas in the next 2-3 sargas. That's why I just caught it up. Look at this particular shloka. Kumaravapitam ratrim ushitva susamahitau prabhata kale chothaya purvam sandhyam upasya cha sprushto dakau shuchi japyam samapya niyamena cha hutagnihotramasinam Vishwamitram Avandatam. So there are 2 shlokas here I just picked up to tell you. This gives a peep into what were some of the things they were doing as part of the daily living. If you really ask. For example, it says, Kumarau api, Kumaravapi, Kumarau api, that the two brothers, Tam Ratri Mushitwa, after spending the night sleeping, Susama Hitau, okay, got up comfortably, they woke up and so on. Prabhata Kale Cha Uttaya, got up the next day morning. Purvam Sandhyam Upasya Cha. So they looked towards the east and did Sandhyavandana. I just brought it just to show. Because what is happening, we have today's things in the Sanatana Dharma of living. There's one thing which keeps bothering me. This Shankaracharya of Sringeri, who is one of probably the most read person in this Vedic literature. I mean, is extraordinary. I have actually heard him several years in some of the very intellectual discourses and his general discourses and so on. Now he has now come to a situation where, and I have seen him addressing in some, near Sringeri, Shimoga here and there. In Brahmana Sabha, he is saying a person with so much of wisdom is not talking these things to the Samaj. He is saying, I know in a very, very, simple, apologistic way, he says, I know you are all busy, please do Sandhyavandana. This Sandhyavandana is now thrown out of the window for most. Whereas the 3 Varnas are supposed to do, not Brahmins. The 3 Varnas are supposed to. The Shudras are always exempted from all that. When you are the thick of work, you cannot subject them to any of these restrictions. That's not correct. It's a well thought out idea. They must be completely kept out of this. But the other 3 Varnas are supposed to do. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are supposed to. Now today Brahmins are also not doing. That's the situation. Whereas look at here, he says, he gets up and then does his morning ritual. Sandhyam is just not Sandhyavandana. There are a set of practices which we are supposed to do. So one of them is Sandhyavandana. People have been asking about Sandhyavandana. Why should we do? And I have also written about 70 pages and it's in my website available. I will leave all other arguments later. I have a simple argument. If people have any sense, any iota of sense of gratitude, they must actually do Sandhyavandana. Because in 1912, there was a National Geography article which said that we actually breathe sun, we eat sun, we wear sun. The petrochemical that this is a petrochemical. There's a lot of PVC in this. Even cotton also is sun only. So that National Geography article actually said, by saying this, they were saying that sun is the central reason why we all exist, live, eat comfortably, sleep, and do whatever we want to do. You remove the sun by a few inches from the earth, we will freeze and die. If you bring the sun a few inches closer, we will burn and die. It's in such a precarious balance. So Sandhyavandana, which Vishwamitra did it, that's why I'm talking about all that. Sandhyavandana is a simple act of a sense of gratitude. See, the living at that time is a sense of gratitude. The predominant element of living was a living of a sense of thankfulness and gratitude. See, we can today talk about patents, we can talk about all that, we can talk, I did IPR, I did these IPOs and patents and so on. You can create patents and IPOs only with what nature has endowed you. To my knowledge, man has not found anything. He has only recreated. Please tell me one item which he brought. The Lord brought. And man used it. And they used his brain, of course. The brain also Lord gave. He used it and created. We only recreated. We never created anything as far as I know. You cannot create air. You cannot create water. You cannot create Panchabhutas. You can't create. You cannot create one species. We are cloning. I don't know where we will go. But we cannot create 1.2 trillion species, unique species, which includes animal kingdom and plant kingdom. Man has not created with R&D. I don't know who created it. It's God created. So we had that sense of thanksgiving, that sense of gratitude was the way of living. And central to that is actually these practices. So to me, it looks like not a ritualistic practice which somebody does, and so we call him a Hindu or a Brahmin. It has degenerated to that level. This is a sense of gratitude. From the time you get up in the morning, from the time you go to sleep, you should have that sense of gratitude because you live on the basis of what the Lord has given. Whatever the meaning of Lord and the name that you may call, choose to call. So that is what, again and again, Sprushtaudako Shuchi Japyam Samapya. So, you meditate and then you offer your offerings with water. Some offerings can be made with water. In fact, our Dharma Shastras are so practical. It says, if water is not there, you are in the middle of the desert. And in Sandhya Vandana, the most important thing is Arghya. Giving Arghya is the most important aspect of Sandhya Vandana. So Dharma Shastra says, you don't have water, take some dust and offer. You can take dust and offer. It is the bhava of what you do which is very important. But in Mahabharata, it says that, in between the war, they stop and they perform Sandhya Vandana and continue the war. Because they realize sometimes, the night and all, towards the end, some of the things started. So such references are there. So that was a way of living. And to me, to say all these are rituals, to say all these are some religious practices is actually discounting the spirit of what it is. The way I understand is this society long back, I'm sure other societies would have had, because all of them are worshipping nature only. In their own ways they would have done. I am only giving a reference from here because it is pertaining to this culture. It is a sense of gratitude. It is a sense of thanksgiving with which we did everything. That's why all these are coming. So, I'm doing all that. Then it says, Huta Agnihotram Asinam. So he talks about what he is doing. Vishwamitra is also doing his own rituals, whatever has to be done. Some of them are Shauta Karya. Agnihotra is a Shauta Karya. Some are Smarta Karyas. So all those are indicated through these shlokas that there is a certain important. In the next sarga after this, again it is coming. So I will take that shloka and also show you again. It is the 31st sarga. It says, Prabhatayam tu sharvaryam krita paurvakni kakriyau vishwa mitram rishim chanyan sahita vabhijagmatuhu. Again it says, Prabhatayam in the morning, right? Having, the brothers got up. Krita Paurvahnika, Purva Agni, Anikam. Pura Anikam is actually morning ritual. Same thing is told in a different way. East facing. Okay? Paurvahanika Kriyau, Vishwamitram Rishim Chanyan. So Vishwamitra and the other rishis with whom company they are there. Sahitau Abhijagmatuhu. So all these are Dvichana. It is talking about the two brothers. So the two brothers got up, finished their morning rituals, and then along with the other rishis and so on, they were ready to go. So it's a reference of that as they were moving forward. Again, this is coming. In a few places it is coming. I just took a few of them. Just to tell you, and I will show you a few more shlokas from other places. Yajnavalkya says this. He says, Brahmano pasyate sandhya Vishnuna Shankarena cha kasmat no upasaye devim Shreyas Kamo Dijottama. He says, Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar also did Sandhya Vandana. How can you be not doing Sandhya Vandana is what he is asking. He is saying, Brahmana upasate Sandhya. Vishnuna Shankarena cha. So Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all the three did Sandhya Upasana. Okay? Kasmat, from where did you get this idea? Kasmat, na upasayet devim. How can you say I will not do it? Shreyas kamo dijetam, because it is a Shreyas kama. It only, makes you, improves your Shreyas. So when it is an act of goodness, which only, refines your thinking, which only makes you, Sandhyavandana to me is something which should refine our thinking, make us a little more subtle, little more aware of what it is. That is the idea behind all this. So he says, why are you not, he is actually talking to a king. Dvijanam Uttamaha. He is talking to a Kshatriya king actually, who is a Dvija also. Dvijottamaha. That is the, I don't know exactly where it is coming. So I was not able to put the reference. In Manusmriti, in chapter 4, there is so much of bad mouthing about Manusmriti. That Brahmins are, kept at a very high pedestal. Nobody can be a Brahmin the way he actually. You don't know what kind of things he has put. And we can close our eyes and say, if somebody follows those practices, you should put him really on the top. This chapter 4 is full of what you should do, what you should not do, how tight you are, how you must have your control. This chapter 4 actually talks about that. I just picked up, there are about 270 shlokas in chapter 4 of Manusmriti, one of the biggest chapters. Because he says, being a Brahmin is not all this birth certificate business. So there are very tight expectations where you have absolutely no interest on material thing. Your only interest is loka sangraha and knowledge creation. And in order to develop that mindset, you have very strong recommendations, very difficult things to follow. If somebody follows it, they will be like that. Once you bring them there, I will put them on the top and celebrate. That is what it is. That's why in Taittiriya also it says, Aluksha dharma kamasyuhu yatate tatra varteran yukta ayuktaha. Those definitions are very tight definitions. If people are like that, we can listen to whatever they say because they have no axe to grind. So Brahmin has no axe to grind. Who is a Brahmin? So for that Brahmin, when he gives a long list of things, these two shlokas are there. So what does it say? Uttaya avashyakam kritva. Get up and finish your morning nature's require calls and all that. Avashyakam kritva. Uttaya avashyakam kritva. Krita shaucha samahita. You clean, do your, kayaka, manasika, vachika cleaning. All that you do. You purify yourself. Purvam sandhyam japam tishte. Sokalam cha aparam chiram. Aparam is the other time, which is the evening. So chiram, forever. So this is not I will do today, tomorrow I won't do it, day after tomorrow I am very busy. Next week I have some other work to do. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, so you must do it. Sokalam aparam also, chiram. Forever you must do this. That's what he says. Then he says, Vishayaha Dirgam Sandhyatva. He says, why do you do it? Because doing this for a long time. Okay? Dirgam Ayuhu Avapnyuhu. You will live longer. That's the first thing he says. You will live longer. Prajnam Yashascha Kirtincha Brahmavarcha Samayevacha. This very act of this simple Sandhya that you are supposed to do 2 times, 3 times, both are there. Madhyanika is also there. If you do it, he says you will only become finer, you will only become better. And that will happen only when we do knowing what we are doing. Not ritually having a cup of water and, step 1, step 2, step 3. So we do it, pour it like this, rotate it once like this. Today, many things have deteriorated like that. That was not the spirit. The spirit was how do you actually use these opportunities to self-reflect, refine yourself, then you will raise your standards. So that's what Manusmriti, in those 280 shlokas of conditions, so many things he's saying. These two are also there. I just wanted to actually show here. In fact, I think chapter 9 of Manusmriti, there he says, a fellow who has not done Veda and all that Jati Matra, Brahmin, he says, 1,000 of them you bring, they are of no use. It is like having a wooden, he uses words like that. It is like having a wooden elephant. It is not elephant. Rupa is there. Bhava is not there. The substance is there, spirit is not there. So he has been very tight in telling many things. And 3 chapters for king, 7, 8, 9. Very nicely talks about. Chapter 5 and 6 is all about your 4 ashramas, and how do you finally, go from one ashrama to another ashrama? It's actually a manual of living. Manual of living, putting conditions, putting so many things that we have to do. Governance, all those are in chapter 8, 9, 10. How punishments, who should make the law, who should implement the law, all those are there. So it's all being bad-mouthed for selective reasons and so on. And nobody is reading it in a very neutral sense and make judgment. That numbers are dwindling actually. Anyway, so essentially what I am trying to say is, it reminded me of some ideas of what was this Vedic living. What was this Vedic living? I talked about it in one of the earlier sessions also. Basically, the idea of Vedic living was the purpose of human life is to realize oneself and know the absolute truth. For all other things which you are so much engaged today, job, promotions, whether we get these, am I promoted faster than somebody else? Do I have more material benefits than somebody else? Are all intermediate goals. We have now taken intermediate goals as ultimate goals of life. I am not dismissing as not goals. I am only qualifying them as intermediate goals. They are not the ultimate goal. Those goals can only help you to reach the ultimate goal, which is purpose of human life is to realize who you are and know that absolute truth and elevate yourself. But many of these practices are actually meant for it. If we are not able to see that through that, you can keep on reading, doing Sandhyavandana for Janmas and Janmas, nothing will happen because it is a very mechanical sort of a thing. So one person went to Ramana Maharishi and said, I've been reading Bhagavad Gita for so many years. Nothing is happening to me. So Ramana Maharishi in his very characteristic style said, the book was saying, you look at you and you are looking at the book. Like that he said. What he's saying is, it's not about memorizing it and understanding the meaning and all that. It is, a little bit of internalizing and seeing what is it trying to, where is it actually helping us to. So this is the goal of life. And in that scheme of things, to achieve this goal of life, they had a central mechanism called yajna. Yajna is a very broad term. The easiest understanding of yajna we have is an altar in which we have agni and then make ahuti. That's only one version of yajna. Yajna is a very, we have already seen it in Gita and many times I have spoken, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Yajna is a very broad, that's why in Chamaka it says yajno yajnana kalpatam. Prano yajnana kalpatam, apano yajnana kalpatam, dhyano yajnana kalpatam, all that it says finally yajno yajnana kalpatam. All that it finally says that. And the Vedic living thought that your journey to reach that ultimate truth has some sequential blocks. And the blocks are in some way temporal also. I mean, it is time bound. We have to actually live in karma kanda. Nobody can escape from the life and the society. It's all about karma kanda, but then the only difference it made was, and that's what Gita preaches, that's what our Upanishads preaches, that's what many of text preaches. It says, when you do the work is done to purify your mind. Today, work is actually affecting my mind so much. Work is creating so much of problem in my mind. Work is the source of all my problem today. Whereas the intention there was the karma kanda is a state in which okay, one of us will join now. So we thought as we work, because work is inevitable, we have to be part of the society, the whole karma yoga is this. The karma yoga is the one which will make us successful in karma kanda. So do work, the work must purify us. I mean, work should only make us better, make us very pure, very generous, very open, very broad-minded. All those nice things must happen to us. Then comes upasana kanda. Because if my preoccupations with my mind is over, see, we are spending time only on that. We are attributing why somebody did like that, why did it happen to me, that fellow is not listening to me, he is not respecting me, my efforts are not giving me results. We are full of that. Suppose we sorted out all those issues, that means we are really karma yogi, which means I will do work. I will take what comes. I will do work. Suppose, let's say we reach that stage, then our mind is now ready. Now it will actually start looking around as, who am I? Where am I? That question you cannot ask before because we are preoccupied with the other problems in life. Suppose the other problems are either not recognized or settled or not bothering me anymore. Then the next question will come, who am I? Who is this person? What am I trying to do? I have enough time to now contemplate. The other thoughts are all gone. That's where the Upasana Kanda comes. Now the question is what is this Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara? What is this world in which I am? What is this notion of a Lord? And who am I? And how do you connect these three triangles? That journey will start. So in that journey to help us, there are mechanisms. That's what the Upasanas are. That's why in Taittiriya you find some 13, 15 Upasanas in Taittiriya, and all these are part of the Vedic lore, corpus. So it helps us to start training and asking this question in a very structured way. Then comes the Jnana Kanda. Then you realize who you are, and then so immortality, as they show in the movie, or as we generally understand, is not not dying. Anything material has to deteriorate one day. There is no escape route for that. That is Prakriti Visesha. So immortality is not about dying. Immortality is about saying this notion of death, rebirth, all those are immaterial in my scheme of things. They are not there. So dying means the body just goes. If somebody reaches that level, he or she is immortal. That's why when Parikshit, when Janamejaya, that story, when he was told 7 days you will die, that Bhrigu, Shuka Makarishi, when he taught them, his Bhagavata, the idea, he could have done some tricks with all his tapobala. He could have tricked and then made sure 7 years can become 7,000 years, something. All these they are reading in Purana. Maybe they would have done it. He didn't do it. He brought his mind to such a level in 7 days that the death which he is going to get out of, so-called death that he is going to get out of this snake bite, it has become immaterial for him. That is true immortality. Immortality is not trying to protect this body. Wrinkles will come, whatever you do. It's not about that. It is about a state of mind in which these notions go. So that is the Jnana Kanda. So this is their model of living. And for that, they put practices. For each stage, you need, how do you do Chitta Shuddhi? How do you do Upasana? You see, our text is full of that. If you look at it from that lens, then it will make sense. And it will give us a logical way by which we can actually look at it. So every activity is a celebration in life, and it is done, the Vedic idea was done with Yajna as the central thing. Yajna means give and take. Yajna means being thankful to the gods, and the god there means the natural forces, not necessarily Pauranika Devataha. They are all, natural forces. So it is a spirit of give and take. It's a spirit of sustainability. It's a spirit of thankfulness. So mutual dependence between the devas and humans was very much part of their psyche. They understood it, right? Offerings are integral part of daily living. So these Purva Sandhya, all those that he is talking about are all part of this. The spirit with which it is done makes the act very different. So you can keep doing something without knowing why you are doing. If you understand the larger scheme, the very doing gets to a very different plane. Over years, that only refines. That's the idea. And in some cases, offerings are through Agni. So Agni is the main deity, and offerings are done through Agni also. And then the notion of Panchamaha. So all these were part of living. You will see all these in these stories, weaved in a very different way. It actually gives a lens view of how were they thinking, what they should achieve in life, and what kind of practices they had to achieve it. That's what you find from these stories. That's why I, took a detour to explain this.